just functional that. What we're going to be looking at today is the rail fence cipher. Now this is one of my favorites. It was used in the Civil War, and granted I was older when I served with the forces in the Civil War, but it is one of my more favorites. Now our plain text is "Now is the time for all good men," and the camera is not going to pull it all in. Let me see if I can back it out. There we go. You can see that the message is "Now is the time for all good men." Down below this, right here, you see our enciphering system. Now is the time for all good men, right? We strip off the letters across the top, then across the second line, third line, and fourth line. And I'm going to be introducing an enigma code in my next video, so I want to show you this enigma text. Let me see if I can back this off just a hair. Alright, here we can see the NHFGNOT with the enigma becomes FXROFE. And we'll get to the enigma, as I say, in the next video. But there's a reason for showing this enigma text. I got this, it's called an enigma slide, and I just thought it was a curious thing to play with if you like codes and ciphers. So I bought one. They're $39, and I'll put a link at the end of the description, or I'll put a link right now. Alright, so if we were to transmit this in the enigma code, we would be transmitting the FXROF as opposed to the NHFGNOT and so forth. Now this is our enigma code right here, our enciphering. Now, there's two ways to break this out. The first is you know the number of rails by prior agreement. This is you're communicating with someone and you've said, we're going to use 4 rails, we're going to send this message. Then you draw a box 4 deep, 25 long, because there's 25 characters in that message. The next thing you do is you place a letter every 7th space after you skip past the first one, right? So you're going to end up with the letters across the top, the NF, H, G, N, and in just a moment I'll show you a mathematical code to deal with this. So anyway, line 2, you skip 1, you skip 1 square, bring this up, you skip 1 square, you put 1 in, and then you skip 3, skip 1, skip 3, skip 1, skip 3, and so forth. Then you go to line 3. In line 3, you skip 2, skip 1, skip 3, and you'll end up with this third line. Where is it? This third line, which is out of camera. You end up with this third line. Skip 2, 1, skip, there we go. And then the fourth line, it skipped 4 every 6th place to get that character in spot. Now there's a mathematical formula which is pretty cool. This is what I normally use because it's pretty quick, painless. Right here it says where n equals the number of rails, L is the length of the string. So in this case we know we have 4 rails, the length is 25, right? So n equals 4, L equals 25. Now granted there are spaces up there, but we didn't put the spaces into the thing, so don't worry about it. So K, and K is going to come back to be real important, equals the length divided by 2, the number of rails minus 1 times 2, okay, which comes out to be k equals 2, 4 minus 1, which equals 2 times 3 times, or divided by 20, divided into 25, and it comes out 4.1 over here. That 4.1 is going to be significant on the top line because it's going to tell you you have 5 characters and not 4. Alright, let's back this back up a little bit. So your first line is going to be the NHFGN. The second line, k equals 4, right here. So, yeah, let's see, where are we? Second line is 5 letters. In this case, correction, the point 1 gives you a 5th character. I'm trying to read over my camera. The last line is k equals 4. The reason being is because now this point 1 doesn't count because you don't have 26, you only have 25. So it's going to be 4 characters. Your decrypt rather, is going to be IIAD, which at the top, if you review back, is IIAD. Now, each line is going to be 2k. K is 4, right? So it's going to equal 8. So line 2 is going to be OTEEOLOE, and line 3 is going to be this string here. You need to practice these decrypts before you try it for real if you're trying to break an unknown rail cipher, but this will break it. The reason that I talked about the enigma ruler, which is what I'm calling it, it's an enigma slide, but the reason I'm calling it the enigma ruler is you would still get gibberish, which would make it incredibly difficult to break the code. Now, had the enigma key encoded text prior to transmission, the decrypt would still be uncertain, and the enigma key will be presented next. This code, or this formula that I have right here, k equals L over 2n minus 1, and then 2k right there. This is pretty common. You can look this up on the internet. Practice the cipher. The rail fence is really a good cipher system. If there's any interest, I will show you a computer program. I didn't write it, but I'll show you a computer program which will allow you to encrypt using rail fence, and perhaps this will be of interest to some of you people that are interested in codes and ciphers. Also, I had a request from someone by email asking me if I would go into a lot more detail on breaking the aristocrat. Aristocrats are super easy to break as a rule. Sometimes they can be real tough, but generally they're pretty easy. So I will put together a video on that and present that for you. With that said, dysfunctional vet out.